Good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kingdom Shift Now. Heal myself first, heal my family, and heal my nation. This is our 28-week program covering 7 monthly modules that will result in the healing of your body, spirit, soul, and spirit. Body, soul, and spirit. In our first module, my self-healing body. Our second module is healing the earth. Our third module, which we are in today, is healing my productivity. Our fourth module is healing our national GDP and getting our wealth, which every country has, and every family has, and every community has, to be properly distributed. Wealth distribution. Our fifth month, we look at healing our financials, our aligning our financials to biblical principles, which will just put us into abundance, right? And it's not about earning more, it's just about realigning whatever you have access to. And month 6, we look at healing our purpose and bringing our passion into God's plans, the plans that we were created to achieve on earth. And month 7, we look at healing our communities. And that's all groupings of every sort, our workplaces, our physical communities, our nation, and of course, affecting the healing of the planet. So that's our 7 modules. And we are now starting module 3. So it means that we have had 4 sessions on healing my body, 4 sessions on healing the earth, and now we're going to the 4 sessions on healing my productivity. And if you looked at your link that you got, it had the 4 topics for this month. And we'll be using the same link for the 4 sessions this month. I'm really excited about this whole module because it is a key to our, I would say, to our prosperity, to our abundance, to our proper utilization of resources. And there are 2 texts that I recommend that you read that will give you the nuts and bolts of how to achieve this particular ability of healing your productivity. And the 2 of them have to do with time and the resources that we have been given freely. The resources that we have been given are limitless. The time that we have to utilize those resources is limited. And we are going to be looking at timetables. I think it's next week or the week after, but within this month, and how to utilize your time to get the maximum return on your maximum return on your investment of time and maximum return on your investment of everything. And the key is time. But today we're going to look at the elements of productivity and value add. What is productivity? And what is value added? How do you add value to the things that you have? Now, remember, we are looking at entrepreneurship from the perspective of healing the earth and utilizing the things that come out of the earth. And we are using 3 nurseries as our goods and services that we are going to be developing. It doesn't matter what your profession is. We are using these 3 nurseries as the case study for learning the principles of entrepreneurship so that you can now transfer them anywhere. So in the first module, we looked at the physical healing of body, soul, and spirit, and what was necessary to get you there. And at the end of each module, there are deliverables. For the first module, we all need to assign a time every week when we have a family clinic. And can be alone in the family? Fine. But it's a time when you assess what is wrong and how you're going to fix it based on the principles of disease reversal that we learned, and the immunology 101 and the cellular health maintenance. Your objective is to bring your cells into balance so that you can maintain cellular health moving forward. Okay. The second module, we were planting 3 nurseries. One with our kitchen garden stuff, one with everything that we need from the earth to bring us back into health. So that is our raw material to produce our pharmacy items. So every leaf or seed bearing herb and every tree that has a fruit with a seed needed to be planted as a nursery. This is not because whether you have the space to accommodate a forest or not is neither here nor there, but just a nursery to plant these things so that you have the raw materials in place. Because today we're going to start a section on producing items from these 3 nurseries. And of course, the first thing you learn to produce, which we looked at last month, are sprouts, which grow in 7 days, microgreens, which you can have in 14 days, and fast growing greens. Whether you go from scallion, cut my scallion and chives every week. I just cut them off, leave an inch of the green at the bottom, and 1 week it's right back up again, cut again. So I can reap that every week. It grows an inch a day. And there are several other things. Moringa grows that fast as well. And as you experiment, you will see the things that grow quickly. And one of the keys is that the speed of growth of your items is an indication of the levels of protein that are in that particular food. And so when you have persons talking about, oh, I'm not having enough beans and peas, and I'm not getting enough protein because I'm not having flesh, you know, what is the fastest growing thing in my yard? Moringa, callaloo, as I said, scallion, spinach. I can measure the growth every day. All my greens, like parsley, cilantro, celery, all the leafy greens that grow. They really grow fast. And of course, if you have vines, beans, the vines grow fast, but beans take a while to mature so that you don't have access to them immediately. So the fastest growing items are the items that have the most protein in them. So you get more use of a protein, or should I say beneficial protein, from your greens than you get from beans and nuts and seeds, and of course flesh foods. Now, flesh foods have higher protein content than human beings need. Consequently, it becomes harmful because anytime you have excess protein in your system, all these cells proliferate. Let me say that again. Anytime you have excess protein in your system, all D, A, B, C, D cells proliferate. D cells are decayed, deficient, dysfunctional, and all the dead, all of those things. They just grow very, very fast and they coagulate together. And that is the main contributory factor to all growth, whether it is a bump or a cyst or a lump or a growth or a fibroids or cancer or anything that is growing. And the faster it is growing, the more protein you put in there, the faster it grows. And that is why I can never understand why cancer patients are given that white milky drink that is supposed to help them recover. Because the only thing it does is increase the growth of the cells that have been either radiated or chemotherapied. So it's important to understand those principles, the principles of cellular health, because that is the level at which we are doing. The heal myself, heal my family, heal my nation. Okay, so why is that important in this section? Because you are going to produce items from everything that you grow in your yard. Because the principle is that you grow 10 times the amount that you need, right? By just growing everything from seed. Don't plant 5 seeds, plant all the seeds. I'm about to plant, I can't count them, but a cup. I'm about to plant a cup of red, yellow, and orange sweet peppers. I use a lot of sweet peppers every day. Like I use a cup of scallion cut up every day. And probably the same of, when I say cup, I'm talking about 8 ounce, right? Of all my seasonings. Because well, whatever I'm doing, I have more seasonings than the thing I'm seasoning, right? So it doesn't matter what I'm doing. So I generate a lot of seeds, right? Tomatoes, whatever. And so I plant back everything. So it's just spread over the soil, and I'm about to plant those tomorrow at first light. And I know I'm going to have hundreds, because there's a whole cup. It's not a little packet with 24 in there, a whole cup, and everybody can generate that. And one of the things you can do is ask people with restaurants. I used to go and collect stuff. I collect stuff at the dump, and I collect stuff from people who, cook pumpkin soup every day. And they have a big box of pumpkin seeds. And we're going to go through all the different processes that can be done. So the first thing that I want to look at are the principles of productivity. And I'm just going to read them because these are coming from a very academic perspective. And first of all, you have to understand that you have to decide, when it comes to productivity, what is your objective? What is your objective? And anything you do, always go to the end and decide what is your end. This is how the Almighty works. He goes to the end and looks at the finished product that he would like to have us be. And then he goes back to the beginning and produces everything that is needed to get to that end, right? Consequently, it's the same way we need to work. So what do you want at the end? You want proliferation, first of all. You want more than enough. You want a healthy product. You want a health generating product. And there must be profitability. There must be differentiation. There must be innovation. And there must be total utilization of all the resources that you have. I mentioned the 2 texts, and I want you to write them down. One is called The Tyranny of the Urgent. Tyranny of the Urgent. And both of them are available free online, and they're ebooks. You can read them off in 2 hours. But it covers everything you need to organize your time. The Tyranny of the Urgent. What it is saying is that you need to be able to identify what is urgent, what is important, what is essential, and what are you supposed to be doing now? What is the best thing for you to do now? Because the urgent is not necessarily the best thing. And whatever you're doing must be aligned with your purpose and your focus. Purpose and focus, right? Because if you do not align with your purpose, then you are not operating in your lane. I don't know if you understand what I mean by in your lane. It means that you need to operate in your lane. That means that this is maybe urgent, but it is not for you to do. You need to align with your focus. And too many of us are trying to help everybody in every area. And that's not possible because we have one limitation, time. So the tyranny of the urgent. And the other book is called Acres of Diamonds. Acres of Diamonds. Another book available. Both of them come from, a century ago, right? Both books are available free online as well. Acres of Diamonds basically shows you how to utilize all the resources that you have been given free of cost. And I offer an Acres of Diamonds service where I can come into your yard, your community, and identify as many businesses as you want to have from the items that are freely available in your yard and community. I remember doing a one-day analysis at a friend's home where there's just a lot of wild stuff going on. I would say there is probably one of the main things just all over, like the whole, it's a huge property. And I guess it was close to 3/4 acre. And the whole across the back of the property, probably about more than 100 feet, 200 feet of aloe vera. And I'm not talking in a line, it's in a line, but it's a broad line, and I looked at it and I said, oh my goodness. I came up with 5 products that could support a family of 4 and send them straight through university from just that thing of aloe vera in the back. And then also discovered that there were precious stones on the property. Every property has minerals on it, whether it is the dirt, the soil, the sand, or other earth properties. Have lots of minerals on all our properties. Every property has minerals on it. You can't have earth without minerals, right? And mineable minerals. I picked up 2 5-gallon buckets of stones, precious stones that look like elements, like emeralds, right? And they can be, I took them to the jeweler and they said, you can polish this and do this, you can make this with that, you can make this with that. I mean, in 2 5-gallon buckets, I had the potential for millions of dollars. So the issue of productivity must first start by looking at the resources that you have free of cost in your own environment. And the whole concept of foraging. Now, first thing everybody's going to say, I don't have any time to do that. Well, if you read Acres, if you read The Tyranny of the Urgent, you will find out what is happening with your time. And when you do Acres of Diamonds, you will find out the potential of everything that is around you. And so if you want a personal consultation for your particular area, then it is something that can be done. But it's important for you to start thinking yourself of everything that you need. And while I'm on it, I'm about to say you've got to research everything. Every time I am going to like do this session, for every hour I engage, I do 3 to 5 hours of research. And what I have found is that my research time is being cut down a lot because I use AI for my research. I just put in what I want specifically, and it will spit out what it wants to give me, and then I keep asking for what I want until I get it, and it's available immediately. However, it's important, I get that body of knowledge which comes at a perspective, and now I have to adjust that perspective to my own perspective. So it's not something that you're going to take lock, stock, and barrel, but at least it gives you a framework and a skeleton of what the traditional answer would be. And you now have to use your knowledge and whatever training you have to extrapolate whatever training you have in this particular area. No, that is not good. That does not align with what we are learning here. Now, why am I telling you all of this? Because time is your most expensive component. But if you don't understand the process of productivity and value added, then you won't know what to spend your time doing. So the first thing you want to do is to the end result that you would like to produce. And when you are looking to the end result, please don't say, oh, I only want 4. No, why not say 40, right? Always ask for the impossible. Why should you always ask for the impossible? Because when you ask for the impossible, you have to engage the assistance of the Most High, because you need to operate in the supernatural realm for everything that you are producing. And you will get what you call witty inventions. You'll get ideas just coming down. Once you have the mindset that I am going to reach for abundance in everything, then you create the environment that will pull this abundance towards you. It's called law of attraction, but it's not a new age concept. It's a concept that you shall have what you say and that you shall have what you imagine. You have to pull down every imagination that is not consistent with the intent of the Almighty for you. And this is why affirmations and declarations work, because you speak what the Almighty says over your life, and they will attract exactly what you say. You shall have what you say. So it's important to, I'm still talking about the end. If you don't get the end right, you're not going to get the steps going to the end right. So make sure your end vision is bigger than you can manage. And make sure your end vision is also something that you're passionate about. So you would do it. It is something that you would do whether you are being paid to do or not. It's something that you are passionate about, something that you get value from, and you also get enjoyment from being involved in doing, right? So get the end right and write it down. Write the vision, make it plain, so that those who read it can run with it. And the first person who will read it is going to be you. So you can't take anybody else where you have not been. All right. Now, once you get to the end, then in order, if it's something that you want to achieve in 1 year or in 3 months, it doesn't matter. Once you get to the end, you have to back up now and say, well, if I need to get there that time, then I need to do this to start the process. And then you make a time plan getting there. Now, there are certain components in productivity. You got to have raw material. You got to have labor. Because we're looking at productivity, right? It means that you're producing something from a base element. So all the things that you grow in your 3 nurseries, if it's edible, it's only for your family's mouth. All the excess is either to be sold to or bartered with somebody who is, you are exchanging edible for edible. And I'm talking about unprocessed stuff. So you grow yam and they grow potatoes. No, scratch yam. Pumpkin. You grow pumpkin and I grow potatoes. And you either you send me your pumpkin and I buy your potatoes, or you swap them or you barter them, right? But it's a principle I'm trying to say here. Do not sell anything raw or fresh as produce unless you are bartering for produce. If you sell it for money, you are losing big time. The cost of producing raw anything is a quarter. It is 4 times what it is normally sold for. Let me say that again. This is why farmers are always poor, because they sell all their produce fresh. And this is why we're doing this particular thing. If you add, we're looking at costing here. If you add the cost of your raw material, the cost of your time, the cost of your overheads. What are overheads? Everything else that you do in order to do that. Your transportation to go and buy this stuff, your utilities, your housing, meaning where are you doing it? In your garage, right? Your accommodations. All you need to do is go on Google, and look at costing. What is the true cost of producing X, Y, or Z, right? And you have to to understand that you've got to put all your raw material, the cost of all your raw material, the cost of your labor, whether you're paying somebody or you're doing it yourself, right? And everybody needs to know their rate per hour to live. And how do you get that? You do a spending plan of all the expenses that you have, right? Meaning to cover your telephone, light, water, bam, 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 bam. And we're going to do that in month 5. But if it costs you, let's just say 500,000, or no, let's put 200,000. If it costs you 200,000 a month to live, I'm talking Jamaican dollars, don't. So let's call it 300,000 a month. I don't know if you can live on that, but for purposes of this exercise, then you are supposed to take the 300,000, you divide it by number of hours that you work for the month. So that is 40 hours a week times 4 weeks. 4, 4, 16. So that's 160 hours a week. So you divide 300,000 by the 160, right? So let me make it easy by saying it takes you $320,000 Jamaican dollars to live for the month. $320,000. You divide it by 160. What do you get? Take off the naught, take off that naught. 16 into 32 is 2. It means that your hourly rate, you need to earn $2,000 a hour. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. $2,000 an hour for 160. Did I say 160 hours? Let's see if I get this back. Those who are doing math, they're doing it. 1632. Correct. Your rate's $2,000 an hour. That's what you need to earn in order to cover your 300,000. Now, your 320,000 may not be coming from one job. It may be coming from this, that, and that out of your garden. You can get this out of your garden, You can get this out of your garden. When I used to go to the farmer's market, the organic farmer's market every Saturday, I come home with 100,000. That's 400,000 just from selling products. But these are not just fresh products. They are value-added products. And so I'm going to show you how you can take every fresh product up the value-added chain. If you sell it fresh, you are only covering a quarter of your cost. So you get enough money to buy back your raw material and to pay your workers and so on. But you don't have any money left to pay your light bill, your water rate, your rent, because whatever you sell is supposed to cover all your expenses. Then you have to have money for your children's school fee and medical expenses and so on. So all of that must come out of what you are doing. So why am I telling you this about a hourly rate? If your hourly rate is $2,000 an hour, it does not suit you to do that work. You have to do work that will pay you $2,000 an hour, and you employ somebody. $2,000 an hour is $1,600. Do I have that right? A day. 2,000 is 16,000 a day. Okay? Now, $16,000 a day has got to now be covered by the cost of what you are bringing in. You understand what I'm saying? So you employ somebody, and you're not going to pay them no minimum wage, right? You pay them better than minimum wage. And then you make sure that they are producing enough stuff. I employ somebody to produce my juices and my stuff. And I'm now trying to get somebody to come in to do my yard and planting and stuff like that, because I realize that I have to train somebody to do that, because I cannot continue doing that at my rate. So you understand the whole issue of productivity here. No, one, fresh for fresh is the only way you sell. Everything else you move to value added. So you move your stuff into the two easiest things to do with everything you produce is prepare it in a meal or package it. Meaning you can double the price per pound if you just package it. So if you have cilantro, you ever go into the shop and see the little packet, it don't have in this amount of stuff in there. And it's $250, right? You package it. And the cost of the packaging is not going to be a big percentage of the selling price. So you package it, just put it in a container, bam, right away can double the price per pound that you would sell it for. And then if you dry it or combine it with something else, you can double the price again if you just dry it. Now, if you dry it and make something else from it, let's say you dry it and then you powder it, you can double the price again, right? I'll give you an instance. I sell a bunch of moringa leaves, branches, like a cantaloupe bunch, for $200 a pound. I just pick it off a tree and sell it exactly like that. No packaging, no nothing. $200 a pound. If I dry it and crush it, it is now a tea. That pound, and I'm just looking at a packet that I have right here, produces about 3 packets of tea that I sell for $600 each. $1,800. So I'm moving from $200 a pound, same raw material. I put it out, I dry it inside, and then I put it in the sun for about a half an hour to get it crisp. And I just go like this with the leaves, and then I repackage it. Put it in a Ziploc bag, put my label on it, and I sell the same pound for $1,800. I'm not finished yet. That same pound I'm just trying to think how much I would get out of that. That I would sell for $1,800. I now put it in my blender and carry it down to powder. So right now it's going to shrink back down to 12% of the volume that it was before. And that packet I would sell for $6,000. Is that 6 or 3? No. It's 4. What's happening here? Are we still together? Yes. Okay. So, yes, I would sell that. I've now moved from $1,600 to $4,500 for that packet, because it's now a month's supply of moringa powder. So every time you add a process to it, now I also take that same moringa powder and I mix it with 15 other spices that I do the same thing with: grow them, dry them, powder them. And I mix it 5. Yeah, I had my 8 o'clock thing. Thank you for the prompt, sir. I mix those 15 spices into a mix now. So I take half of the moringa powder. Remember I told you I sold the whole thing for $4,500. So half of that I take and I mix it with 15 other spices. So if I'm mixing 30 ounces, and then I mix it with 2 ounces of each of the other 15 spices. This is a product development I'm showing you. And I combine that together. And it now sells the same volume, now sells for $6,500. It is now a brain food that clears the heavy metals from your brain, and it also works for, of course, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, any kind of brain condition that is a result of a coagulation of the D cells, those cells we're talking about in your brain. I'm just taking one item. Now, every item that you grow can go up that chain, right? And I'm only talking about the leaves. I could have stopped in the middle and made the juice. I could have I do a cheese that I make from moringa ackee cheese, right? Or I do a moringa sunflower cheese. So every time you combine it, you move up the value added chain, you also increase the cost. So what I'm trying to say here is the more processes you can put on what you are selling, the more profitable it becomes. Consequently, it's important for you to understand the acres of diamonds that you're sitting on and the potential that it has to move forward. So in this section, I would like you to look at the things, and you can just choose one item. You can choose coconut, or you can choose whatever you have the most of, and why I have decided that this program must always start with things that you do not buy is that that is what gives you the edge to be profitable from day one. At say any project that I'm in, I do monthly accounts and I must make a profit from the first month. So it's not a matter that I have to be pouring in all of this and pouring in. And especially when you're doing it yourself and your cost per hour is higher than if you employed somebody to do it because you're just developing it. Then the fact that you do not have to pay for the raw material, you don't have to pay for the pots, you don't have to pay for the seeds, you don't have to pay for anything there, but your time is in it, then right away, sometimes the highest component is sometimes raw material, but on more occasions, time. Then you are able to be profitable because that's not one of your components for costing it. All right. I think I would like to stop here and look at the pharmacy items, because the pharmacy items you can have fresh. I do all of those fresh herbs and so on are a pharmacy item when you have them fresh, and you can put them in a meal. And that's producing a meal. I don't produce a meal for myself unless I cook extra for sale. So at any point in time, people call me and say, Cheryl, what you have today? Right? And I basically cook for 8. Right? And if nobody buys it, I eat it every day because it's amazingly delicious, right? And then I do a lot of catering for events, And so all of those raw materials come out of my yard. So right away, I am making a higher percentage of profit every time I add a process to it, right? And then I make all my pharmacy items. I do noni, I do all these dry herbs, I do all the therapeutic juices. And you need to learn to do these for yourselves, even if it's just one time, right? Because it may not be your business idea. But once you learn principles on this, then you'll be able to transfer it. And each person is supposed to produce a pharmacy for the things that they do. For instance, I do noni, I do aloe vera stuff. I make the most delicious aloe vera drink. There's one that was in the supermarket in a green bottle and it just disappeared. So I make my own aloe vera drink and it just has little bits of aloe vera and it is not bitter at all. I take out the little chunks. I use the skin for another therapeutic process, which is you grind it up with orange. And this is just the most amazing thing for cleaning your blood and making you go and get rid of everything excess in your digestive tract. So that's great. But it's important for you to utilize all the parts of it. Now, I haven't told you what I do with my moringa stems. I haven't told you what I do with the bark. I haven't told you what I do with the pods, and what I do with the seeds, what I do with the nuts, because the nuts and seeds are 2 different things. It's the same item, but they have 2 different uses. Seeds are for replanting, but nuts are for ingesting. And there are several products that I make with the seeds. So any product that you decide you're going to specialize in, fine. but you got to start by just experimenting with everything. Okay. All right. I think I want to now relate what we have just done to your own situations. So for your pharmacy, you can do, you know, I make my own coconut oil. I had my own label and everything, but I can't do everything, but I know how to do it. So you need to know, learn to try everything and then decide what you want to specialize in after. But you need to be able to do everything so that you know how to do it if you are in a bind, or if you think it's too expensive, or you can start a business and put somebody else in there. You can start a business and put somebody else in there. Okay, I think I'm going to zip now. Zip. And Sir Wayne, remember, we have an arrangement where you're going to get your crew to ask questions. I want to hear from everybody on the call. I want to be able to relate what we have done today to your personal situations and how you can benefit from it. So don't all talk at once. Let me hear from you, please. How can you utilize this information?
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. I have to look to see. Oh, Katie. Let's hear what Katie has to say. Katie, you had sent me some peppers that in your garden.
I sent the picture of the spinach.
Okay.
It was a spinach.
Oh, it was a spinach, right?
Yes.
No, you have one
Right. So this morning I was actually thinking about doing.
There, Wayne. Could you please move that person?
It's in her background.
It's in my background. Sorry, I just moved.
Okay, go ahead.
So this morning I was thinking of doing teas. I was even looking for tea bag, like the little sachets that I could probably make my.
No, don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. Tea bags are one of the worst things you can do, right? Sell loose tea. Don't do tea bags. Tea bags, from the bag to everything else, is toxic. I'm here to tell you, right? Plus, tea bags are inferior to loose tea. When you're a tea connoisseur, you don't use tea bags, right?
Understood.
You do loose tea. So you grind this. All you need to do is crush up the leaves. I have don't bring them to powder. Just dry them to a consistency where you can do this and bring them to a small, and also you can cut up bigger leaves. And you see, connoisseurs of tea do not use tea bags. They only use loose tea. And it doesn't matter what size. I sell some of my teas as whole leaves. So you put the 4 leaves per cup in a container and pour hot water on it for it to steep, and you're gone clear. Or you get the fresh leaves, put them in a container. That's the best way to sell to serve tea. Now we're talking about preservation, so you would probably want to go the dry route, right? But do not put them in tea bags. What you do is decide what the dosage is and decide, okay, it's a tablespoon. I have several teas. Most of them are like a tablespoon per cup, based on how big or how small the particles are. And so I test it for myself and say, okay, teaspoon or tablespoon, right? Or 4 leaves, per cup, depending on how I'm setting it. And then I package it for a week or a month. Now, usually my powders are for a month because they are usually a teaspoon. So I do 30 teaspoons, and I start off by taking a measure and measuring 30 teaspoons into a container, then weighing it. And out of that whole batch, I don't need to measure each one now. After I've done one packet, and I usually put 2 extra teaspoons in it. If it's a teaspoon, if it's a tablespoon, I put 2 extra tablespoons in it. And if it's leaves, I put like 2 more cups. I would put 8 extra leaves in there, whatever. Always give a little extra. And then after that, now I weigh the next one. So I just put the container on the little scale and pour stuff in there until it gets to the weight, take it off. Next one, pour stuff in there until it gets to the weight, take it off. So that's how you package your tea. So you decide whether you want to sell a week supply. It's better to do a week supply for those things. When it is a powder, which is much less than a month supply, or a 2-week supply, or a week supply. So people can buy 4, or if they can buy 2 at a time. But you see, the smaller the package, the more cost to you. Because instead of having 1 container, you're having 4 containers. All right. So continue with the question now, Kadia.
Well, you basically answered it because I was thinking to dry lemongrass and dry cinnamon leaves and put it together and package it in either the tea bag or as a loose tea, as you were saying.
Yes. So
Sell
are
it.
you going to mix them together?
Yes, I don't want just single
A
mix.
dry lemongrass. Now I have dried lemongrass in every stage, right? Now the easiest way to do lemongrass is to, you ever see how they sell it in the market? You get 12 long strands, 12 long strands,
Mm-hmm.
and you bend them down at about 6 inches and bend them down and up and down, and you take the end and just wrap around it. Easiest way
Yes.
to sell it. That's the first way. Then you can know, if you decide you want to dry it, then you can decide how are you going to package it. Because I sell it like that, wrapped around. Then I also sell it in Ziploc bags that I buy at the packaging place that are about 6 inches by 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut the lemon
Yes.
at that length, so they just hold right in there. And of course, I wait and do the whole thing, how much I need for the tea and da 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 da. Right? That's another way. And then the third way I do it is cut it up small, right? And it's so now it's a sort of a loose tea, but I've cut it up into small pieces so that everything else that I'm putting with it is cut up to the same consistency. Because I do
Mm-hmm.
a anti-cancer tea which has lemongrass, moringa, soursop leaf, guinea hen weed, and pimento. So all of them are different size leaves, but I cut them all up to be the same size bits.
Mm-hmm.
Mix it together. I said 2 ounces of this, 2 ounces of this, 2 ounces of this, 2 ounces of 2 ounces of this. And I mix them all together. And the 10 ounce will give you X tablespoons or whatever, or a 2 ounce cup, that a little 2 ounce cup that I sell with it in there, so you can just scoop it out and put it in and then steep in it. And that is 1 cup, right? So that's another way. And then I also do it in a ground form. So all of those that I would sell as a tea, I put it back in the high speed blender and grind it up to a powder. And that now has different uses. Because I don't recommend a powder for a tea. But powder is great for blending in a smoothie or in a juice. And then sometimes I add a seasoning to it. Like, see, I add pepper and rock salt to it. And it now becomes a soup mix. So I just went through the whole thing of how you can use your lemongrass. And I do it for single items like that. So I have lemongrass available in all of those forms. All right. So any other questions? Because I want to give you more ideas and,
Thank you for that. I will reserve my questions so that somebody else gets an opportunity to ask you.
Thank you. All right, come on. I need to hear from you all tonight.
8:20.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, and how are you today?
Fine, thank you, Doc.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
What country are you calling from? Who is this? Rose.
Rose.
In Jamaica. Good. I was just wondering if you're in the middle of the night in England.
No, Doc. All
Yes.
right, so I was thinking of making some capsules. Moringa, turmeric, little black pepper, and pumpkin seed. But when I called Bureau of Standard, I was referred to, I think it was SRC.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and I was told that it would be something like 100,000, something that.
Okay. I'm so happy you brought that up. Okay. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I do not work with the Bureau of Standards. I was a director of the Jamaica Organic Agricultural Movement, JOAM. And we wrote the standards for the whole organic, for people to get, for persons to become or registered as organic producers. We wrote the standard and gave it to the Bureau of Standards, right? And what they have done with it, in my opinion, is unethical. Because they have now required people to meet the standards of the WHO, who I will not call any names because this is going to be recorded. So I do not work with any local standards or any ministry. We are trying to heal ourselves first, heal our families and heal our nation outside of the system. I'm so glad you brought this up. Because we have got to take back the power and the capacities that we have. You've got, I can't tell you've got to. I work outside the system. Let me just say that. Outside the system. Because the system has inherently in it control factors to make sure that we always have to come back to them. Our Ministry of Health, Agriculture, and all those that are responsible for those aspects of our lives I have to be very careful about what I say. I'll
Understand.
give you an incident. I registered as a farmer when I went to live in St. Elizabeth about 15 years ago. And I decided, I had a 5-acre property that I decided to do a sample patch of every tree, every flower, every fruit, every vegetable, everything that grew in this country. And at that time, I was a part of this organic movement. And I went to RADA. And of course, if you're a registered farmer, they assist you with all the different things that you want, right? They provide seeds, they provide, extension services, they give you this, and that's why I tell you how to get your seeds. Do not buy them. Forage for them or eat them and eat the fruit and use the seeds, because you know what you're using then. And only buy from people you know and trust. And that does not include the market. You have to go to a farmer's market, or you have to know how to identify the things that are carbide, things that are laced with fertilizer, which most of the market stuff is, and the genetically altered thing. Because the Ministry of Agriculture gives out hybrids. I don't think they have anything that is organic. So you have to get organic from another clean farmer. This is why I do not do organic. I do permaculture and clean farming. So there is a community of farmers, right? And a community of persons who operate the way we do. Because if you do the hybrids and the genetically altered stuff, you cannot heal yourself. You're repoisoning yourself. That's why I tell you, don't buy your seeds, right? Forage for them in the wild, or just buy one set from somebody you know and trust. And there is Kets, Kets. He has an organic, he's the only certified organic by the Bureau of Standards. And it's only because he toes the line, and I would not toe the line, because what they require is totally unnecessary, right? I went for my seeds after registering. And I went, I said, look here, I only want a teaspoon of each seed, because I'm just doing a sample patch. I don't want a teaspoon, a half teaspoon, of everything. So I gave them a list of what I wanted, bam, bam, bam. I said, oh, yes, Dr. Dwingler. I went away while they were packaging, and I came back. And I came back with my nice package of, myriads of little things of this, that. And I took up the package, and something said to me, ask a question. And I said to them, none of these are hybrids, are they? They're all clean, what I call organic seeds. And everybody in the office looked down at their desk like this. I couldn't get anybody to look at me in the face. And I said, are these hybrids? And they all said, yes, Dr. Chow. I just dropped the bag, and that was the last time I interacted with them. These are the people leading the agricultural movement in every parish. that is why we have programs like this. Heal yourself. Nobody else is going to help you heal yourself. And that's why I'm teaching you the methodologies of doing this. Now, I know that you're not exposed to this information. And, everybody, so I don't label my stuff. I make my own labels. I don't want no barcode or no XYZ ABC. Because the requirements for doing that is that you must put this in it and you must put that in it. They will not
8:30.
give you a authorization unless you meet their criteria, and their criteria is not healing. Let's just put it that way. It's damaging.
Thank you, Doc.
I'm glad you asked that question though, because I recognize, I was talking to Wayne earlier today and I said, this group that I'm with, I've never worked with a group like this because they are very academic and they are basically not exposed to usually I'm working with people who are have been doing what I'm doing, And so I realized that I have to be very detailed and I said I need to hear more from them so that I know where they're at, so that I can be relevant to them. Because the system is about control. And you can't heal when you're being controlled by others because they have a different agenda, a different perspective. So that's why I keep saying to you, reach out to me for anything. Don't go to any agency. I have information on anything you want. Resources of raw material, resources of labor, resources of you name it. Anything you want to know in this process, I can point you in the right direction. Or should I say, I can point you away from the wrong direction, which is how we have been socialized and how we have been brought up.
Thank you.
Why most people never heal. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you went to them and they gave you that because it's the same thing. I mean, I anytime I need to get information, I call the Scientific Research Council or I call RADA or I call bam, 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 just to hear what they have to say. And then I develop a program that is half the price and twice the results. That's what I'm training you in here. So any question you want, ask me. Don't use the regular channels. I will tell you which channels are going to help you and which ones to avoid. And that's why I send out all of these things on my daily thing. I send out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things a day because I recognize that people need information on this, on how to plant this, how to reap this, how to process this, how to, and I just keep, and if one person asks me something, I send out the answer to everybody so that you can learn from each other. Okay, anybody else? Wayne, please get your crew to come up and ask questions. Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead.
I was also thinking about selling seeds, and I was thinking of getting the resealable brown envelopes and packaging different seeds to sell.
Yes.
So I'll dry them and then sell them back. Do you think that's a good idea for me to do?
Excellent idea. Excellent. Where are you going to get the seeds from? The things that you eat?
Yes.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
Because guess what? People will gravitate towards that. Because there's a place, I sent out a picture of a place that is in Highgate. Lewis Cope or Lewis something or the other. That basically is one of the major suppliers of seeds. I don't know about the quality of the seeds. I've used some of them. Some of them catch, some of them don't catch. But there's just no other. So, Kets, Kermit Tucker, Kets, Kets Organic Herbal Garden, I think is the name. Just Google it or what have you. And it's on Stillwell Road. And it's my dear friend, and every kind of herb he has. And he also has calorie and every kind of green and herb and lettuce and spice. And that's what he specializes in. And he sells all the seeds as well. And his seeds he is the one who grows the stuff, grows them to seeds. And he's very meticulous, right? The other day, this doctor Dr. Bobby, who is so popular on the net, he came down to Jamaica and interviewed him. I sent out the interview on my channel. I mean, he is like world famous. And the integrity of his stuff, I go up there and check out the farm. And he also does farm tours, and he does training up there on how to grow those things and stuff like that. KETS, just put Kets Organic Farm, Jamaica, and you'll get information on him. But that's a great idea, because like Noah, as I said, I have thousands of seeds. Have you gone on anywhere to find out how to preserve the seeds? Because you can sell seeds. There are different planting methodologies. You can do them dried. You can dry them and keep them in the refrigerator. You just need to do a little research, to decide what state you're going to do them in so they don't get moldy or blah, 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 blah.
Will do.
Yes. Excellent idea. And just what you need to do is buy a few of those local seeds. $190, $210. They range between there. And check out how many they sell.
Yes.
You understand? Because it's like 20. Sometimes I count them, them little fine seed. It's not plenty at all. So don't sell a whole heap. Go and Kit started, he used to sell the seeds into these little 2-ounce container. Thousands of them. I said, you can't do that, man. Right? And so now he sells them in a little envelope. So you can also get that little teeny weeny, the brown envelopes. The brown envelopes are good, right?
Okay.
Buy not expensive, please, right? And you can print a little label or handwrite it on it.
Yes.
Right? But small brown envelopes. Of course, if you're selling things like apple seed and OTT apple or those bigger ones, you have a different thing. But don't buy expensive packaging. Don't get the labels. Don't do all of those cost stuff. Don't do them. Keep it simple. Keep it inexpensive for you to produce. I make all my own labels, right? And I use either Ziploc bags, or if I don't want to use plastic, I use small envelopes. And that's it, right? For everything, right?
How do you make your labels though?
Say that again.
How do you make your own labels?
On a computer.
Okay.
I get a sheet of paper, right? And I just type. I don't even have but if you are good at computer, then they have a label. They have a thing that you can just go in and find out labels, and then you just or putting that sheet with the sticky labels on it, white sheet.
Right. Yeah,
You
that's it.
do that.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
That's what you do with adhesive.
Yeah. But guess what? That got too expensive for me. So now I just use paper. Right? And so I just paste it out and type it. So boo, 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 boo. And I don't even know how to I can't use Excel, so I don't know how to get columns. I don't know how to do that. I just type what I want. And then I take a scissors and cut it out. And then how do I put on my labels? I get the broad tape and I put the label in the middle of the tape and then I paste it on the envelope. And I do that for both my plastic Ziploc bags as well as my paper envelopes.
Understood.
And then, of course, for my teas, I don't make a label. I just get beautiful handwriting and I write on it. So what I'm suggesting to you is that you stay out of the system. You don't want to go into the supermarket. If you want to go into the supermarket, go into the supermarket. You have to go to Bureau of Standards for that. But I'm trying to develop a alternate stream of manufacturing where you control. Because you see, kids is my good friend. But listen to me, they are in there every minute, check into that and do this. He has to have a different packaging house. He has to use a different fridge. He must use a different this. And the cost of just doing what they require, set up your things way up so you can't even make any profit. Right? Is there anybody out there who wants to make wines or beers or those? I make all of those stuff. It's fabulous, easy. Anything that spoil, I just leave it to spoil some more and ferment.
On that note, I was thinking of cherries. Do you think cherry can make wine?
Yes, any kind of fruit can make wine. Any kind of product can make wine. Rice can make wine. Anything can make wine. All you need to do is make it ferment. And in order to ferment, it needs a certain level of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar, I use cane juice for all my sweetener. So you can make cherry or cherries. I've made cherry wine already. I made wine from everything. So you can't go into the just Google organic winemaking. Because the proper way to make wine is to add X, Y, Z in it. This is how I make my wine. Anytime I have a gallon of cane juice and it's starting to spoil, I take it out of the fridge and I grate some ginger in it. And then I put it in a dark cupboard and I loosen the top. And then I go back. I just watch it, right? And then first of all, it just goes first to just starting to ferment. So you get a sort of a fizzy. It goes into what we call a kombucha first, which is like a fizzy drink. Delicious. And then I let it stay a little longer, and then it goes into the beer taste. So it starts to get that sort of a bitter thing. I haven't added anything else to it. It's just the ginger and the cane juice. And then I taste this. I like that, and I use it then, or I leave it. And then it goes into wine, where the fizz is not as fizzy as a soft drink, but the taste is a little more mellow. and then it starts, the fermentation process continues, and after the wine it turns into vinegar. So you can make your own vinegar, like apple cider vinegar. And I do that with any of my juices, every one of my juices, because I just let them stay until they start to fizz, and that's when I like to drink them. And those I keep in the fridge. So experiment with it, but you need to also go online and just put in naturally fermented wines, and you just do it over and over and over. Because the first thing they're going to give you is the processed ones where you have to add this and add that and put in this. And while if you keep putting in naturally fermented, anything you want, just put what you really need naturally, and they will always show you the unnatural thing first, because that's what they're pushing. But if you keep putting it in, I say, or they say it's unnatural or it's raw and it's having this, you just next, and you just watch until you get a body. Because like last week, I met this Rasta man on the road, and the man smiled at me and I said, "Oh my goodness, you have such a beautiful teeth." He said, "Yes, miss, me use charcoal clean my teeth." And the next day, bring a little thing of charcoal for me, right? Of course, I have used charcoal toothpaste, but I don't just couldn't feel like using this charcoal on my teeth because I was thinking going to make it black. Anyway, I decided I'm going to make a charcoal toothpaste. So I researched all over the world how to make charcoal toothpaste. And I came up with a toothpaste, which is what I'm using now. I mixed coconut oil with the charcoal. And the charcoal, I burnt my charcoal from the dried lemongrass that I cut around. You know, when I'm cleaning up my lemongrass plants. Just get a big bunch and burn it. Pour a little coconut oil on it so that it really burn nice and quick. And I use that charcoal. And charcoal, more coconut oil, baking soda, mint oil for the flavoring, and I had something else in there. Oh yes, I had a rock salt in there. 5 ingredients, and I'm telling you, I started using it. Oh my goodness! Just a matter of days, the teeth start to turn whiter. Because I have very yellow teeth, right? My teeth are not white. This is the natural color of my teeth, yellowish gray. I don't know if it's because of all the beetroot and carrot juice that I drink, but and I'm telling you, and then the breath. Oh, hydrogen peroxide was the last thing. So now I have it looks like a paste, just like the toothpaste. So, you know, just experiment with anything. And guys, if you have an idea, call me up. Call me up. I'm a product developer. I can produce anything from anything. And I will just help you along the way. Give some of your guidelines so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, all the mistakes that I make, you won't have to make again. Great idea. Anybody else has any innovative things? And we have, oh my goodness, when you're going to have to do some editing here. All right, guys, we're going to lock off now. But I just want you to know that I'm available. You have some ideas, run them by me first. I can help you cut a lot of time out of your process and just give you direction and give you where you can get resources and where you should go to get, so that you don't have to do all the groundwork that has already been laid. Okay? So I want to thank Sir Wayne from I Am That I Am Kingdom Network. And this is Kingdom Shift Now. Dr. Cheryl Chung signing off from Heal Myself First, Heal My Family, Heal My Nation. And as usual, I'm available for questions of any kind on body, soul, and spirit, on health and healing, and on abundance and maintaining your mindset. I'm available at my WhatsApp number, which is 876 778 4478. Call me anytime. Don't always answer my phone, but leave a message and your call will be returned in 24 hours. Thanks to everybody who participated. See what you can do about ideas or value added, adding value, and start with the products that you currently use, because that is what will also cut down on your expenditure. And maybe I should ask you to start this exercise from now. I would like you to start making a list of all the imported products that you use. And that is food, shelter, clothing, transportation, everything. Just list everything. Go through your cupboard and write down all the items that you use. Go through your closets, right? Because we all have to start decreasing the imported items that we use and developing our own, because our own are always superior. And when we come on to that segment, we will learn about how it contributes to our profitability, our health, and our general welfare for our countries. Thanks again for joining me. Until next week, please, may I hear from you during the week? Thank you for joining us. Until
Thank you too, Doc.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome.